I've done a lot of comparison videos in the past and I want to try something different. So I have two HDs, or Super Duty for Ford, and I want to show you guys some of the benefits that they both have that Chevy and GMC do not. To all my fanboys out there, I'm going to be doing this for every manufacturer, so if you're a little offended that I'm picking on GM trucks, well, don't worry, Ford's going to get it and Ram's going to get it. Ram's going to get the worst probably though, so just saying. But yes, I have to give a shout out to Larry H. Miller, Super Ford here in Salt Lake City, and Larry H. Miller, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and Sandy, Utah. They did allow me to borrow these trucks to show you guys this comparison. Let's go ahead and get into the video. This should be pretty fun for you guys. Now, before we get started, quick detour. Star White paint with the Carmelo interior on a platinum. Oh my goodness, this thing is absolutely sexy. I would do this or antimatter for sure. But yeah, that sparkle in the paint is beautiful. But yes, what does the Ford and Ram have that Chevy and GMC do not? Well, let's pop the hood first. As you guys know, Ram has always had two diesel options, and for 2023 plus Ford Super Duties, they added a second diesel option. Now, why is that important? Because a lot of people would probably say that 500 horsepower and 1200 pound-feet of torque is not much different from the 475 horsepower and 1050 pound-feet of torque in the standard output, although most people would say no, that's definitely a huge jump, and it is. But why do you need more power? Well, one thing I like about Ford is they're always trying to outdo the competition, and they're going to be the hardest ones to pick on here. I'm just going to tell you right now, I have to really pull out my ink pen and start writing stuff down for Ford. Now, I have a few things, so stay tuned. We're going to have some fun. But yes, having two diesel options is good for if you do plan on towing really heavy. Like if you have a 16,000 pound dump trailer, or if you haul heavy equipment and you live 5,000 feet above elevation, or if you're driving through Wyoming and it gets up to 8,000 feet above elevation, there's no shortage of power that this high output PowerStep is going to give you. And the same thing could be said for Ram. So this is a 3/4 ton, so this has the standard output Cummins, but we're going to pretend today. Let's pretend this is a 3500 with the high output. The high output Cummins has the Eisen transmission. So the way Ram does it is different from the way Ford does it. Ford says, you know what? We just have this option for 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks because we want people to have all the power. Well, Ram says our Eisen transmission is too heavy, and we only have a 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. So with that being said, you only get the 3/4 ton with that standard output Cummins. Now, if you move up to the 3500, you get the high output. That configuration gives you the 1,075 pound-feet of torque and 420 horsepower versus the 370 horsepower and 850 pound-feet of torque in this truck. Now, make no mistake about it, anything over 700 is pretty dang good, but I will say they are definitely lacking in this segment. So the same story could be said here. If you tow a lot, or if you haul heavy stuff and you're always loaded, that high output Cummins will help you a lot more in these higher elevations. And of course, if you're towing heavy, it's just so much power and it keeps you in the broadband for sure. Currently right now, GM does not have a high output diesel option, although I will say they still have great performing diesels. They're just not on the same level as Ram and Ford, and they were so close. They have 975 pound-feet of torque, just 25 short of that 1,000. They could have got there. Now, this next point I'm going to make, some of you guys may not care about this one as much, but we do get a lot of seat time in our cars, and when we do tow our trailers cross country or just on trips, it's nice to have a great sound system. Now, I owned a Ram from 2019. It had this 17 speaker Harman Kardon, just like this one. What I did was, for the first time, I've never done this before, I actually got into the Fords and then I got into the Rams, and I went back to back. I will tell you that my GMC doesn't stand a chance against either one of these trucks. Now, 17 speaker Harman Kardon including a subwoofer versus Ford's 14 speaker B&O sound system, and that is including a subwoofer. They did take out the speakers in the headrest for 2024, so you don't have that anymore. Now, with that being said, my GMC is an AT4X. So the AT4X and Denali Ultimate go from the 9 speaker Bose and the Denali and AT4s to the 12 speaker Bose. And even with that upgrade, it's no comparison with these two trucks. I just listened to Ford's. I had the same song play in both trucks. They both rock hard. I would never do anything to these trucks. I'm thinking about getting a sound system for my GMC. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to spend $3 grand right now. That's the only reason why I haven't done it yet. But if I had the cash just burning in my pocket right now, I would have done it as soon as I got my truck. So having the extra sound system, the clarity is good in GMC and Chevy trucks. I'm not saying it's not. It's just, I feel as though you get more of that bass and this deep bass, and you get a little bit more clarity high up too, because there are some songs you just want to jam to, right? And I think, again, this is not me comparing Ram and Ford, but Ram definitely wins on the sound system. Like, the sound system goes a little bit louder on the Ram compared to the Ford. And I will say GM does get loud and they have really good clarity, but it's just lacking in the bass department for sure. So again, that is something that GM has to really fix, I think, when they do a complete redesign on their trucks. Now, when it comes down to driving for hours on the highway, it's nice to have features like this. If you don't know what that is lane sense. That's what Ram calls it. And what that does is it will allow the steering wheel to turn you back into your lane if you veer out just slightly. And that's just nice to have, because sometimes you're going around a curve, you don't know how sharp the curve is until, well, you have to hit the brakes a little bit or just take your foot off the gas really and then start turning more. And the truck will do it for you. Under Ford's Copilot 360 2.0, they do have that lane keeping system as well. So if you don't know this, GM does have a lane keep alert. So it's not going to steer you back into your lane. It's just going to annoy your buttocks because it gives you a vibration in the seat, on the seat bottom here. And it doesn't really do much for you. Like, what I like about these systems over my GMs, because I own one, is it's very annoying. So I always turn mine off, because sometimes I'm just so close to the line, it just tells me that I'm going out, versus the Ford and the Ram will probably just give you a nice nudge to steer you center back into the lane, or just they'll push you back over closer to the center. It's not going to keep you centered in the lane. So as I said, I feel as though that might be a small one for some people, but trust me, when you do drive for 5 and 6 and 7 hours, you do like those nice features that you can just have there as a way to kind of reduce the fatigue you're going to have while you're driving. This is my last point. Now, really quickly, I just noticed that my phone is still connected to the Ram, and last night I had a lot of problems going to sleep. You guys saw where I had a bunch of tumbleweeds in my backyard. Well, we got that all taken care of within like the last couple of days, and so it's been hard for me to fall asleep. And if you have Spotify, this is like a podcast. This will put you to sleep in like 30 minutes. Like, I have a hard time falling asleep sometimes, and this has been my lifesaver. So if that helps anyone out there, feel free. Now, my last point, most of you guys know what I was probably going to do here, because this is very important to me. I love temperatures 100%. So on the Ram, they've been doing this for the longest time. I want to say before 2015, I think I've seen a gauge summary like this. Now, on the gauge cluster, which is a full screen, they do change the layout a little bit. So you have your coolant, transmission, and oil temperatures right at your fingertips. I love to see temperatures if you're going off-road, if you're towing, even if you're unloaded. I just like to see temperatures, right? Now, they also give you the exhaust brake. They have the best exhaust brake, by the way, and boost pressures right there. These are particulate filter. These are just nice features to have. If you're new to turbocharged engines, that boost pressure will help you get better fuel economy, because you can limit how much boost you're going to go. Like, so when you're accelerating, it's not going to work right now because it takes a little bit of time for that turbo to spool in these Cummins. But yes, if you use that while you're driving, especially when you're going from a stop, that is super helpful. Now, one last thing to show you, if you go down to your vehicle and you go to your dashboard and you have your towing features right here, they give them to you all right here. Ford added something similar. They call theirs measurement. So let's go through here. If you go down to gauges, you'll see general measurement. So you have these temperatures and battery voltage, also turbo boost, engine brake, exhaust filter. So yes, with the Ford and the Ram, they give you all these pertinent features which are good for towing and going off-road. If you're going downhill, using the downhill assist that these trucks have, that will heat up your transmission considerably. Now, with that being said, if you go to Ford's tow haul mode, they do take it a step further. Look how they actually set up this screen here. Absolutely amazing. Now, if you go to menu here, let's see, they have down below your settings, right? So just take note of your gauges at the very top there. So let's go. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna change this really quickly for you guys. Just really quickly. I'm already here. So you can put your temperatures there, or you can put your diesel measurements there if you'd like to. But I would prefer temperatures, right? You can also configure the gauges at the very top there. So if you want to swap a gauge, you can do that. And let's just say you want more information. So let's just go down. So you can do a detailed look at your temperatures like that. And let's do this, left selectable one. So we already have the temperature, so we don't really need that many. So we can just put the turbo boost right there. You see that? That's why I say I love these types of options, and Ford and Ram have been really doing a good job. Like, Ford really came out of the woodwork and did this. Like, this is amazing. Like, this would almost make me trade in my GMC for sure. GM does give you a transmission temperature, and of course they give you the gauges that are analog at the very top, but they don't give you any information. I like to see numbers, because when I was coming out of Idaho into Utah, we were climbing, and I mean, we got to a point where I don't remember what the elevation was, but we were just really high, and it was like 110 degrees outside. And all my temperatures on my Ram were reading way higher than I had ever seen. So I actually had to slow down a little bit, and when I got to a descent, I really lowered my speed so I can get those temperatures back into that normal range. But for me, I like to see those things at my fingertips because they're just good to have. And Ram and Ford give those things to you. So hopefully we'll see something different from GM for 2025. I am planning on doing a video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever post it, but I want to show you guys a Canyon compared to an HD GMC Sierra, because they have those temperatures and they have a really nice layout similar to what you see on these two trucks, but they don't offer that for their HD truck. So hopefully I have a chance to do that. But I hope you guys liked the video. I'm going to be doing more of these. This is just something different, and just a different form of a video. Again, I can do comparisons all day long. I mean, there's so many different trucks I can compare, but I like the idea of getting two together to show you the benefits that they both have against one, and then doing the same thing for others. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section if you like the video. See you guys soon.